So we are on our 5th chakra still, which is the throat chakra. We're going to start with the opening meditation. Before the beginning, all was darkness and all was void. The face of the cosmos was deep and unmanifest. Indeed, not a face at all, but endless nothing. No light, no sound, no movement, no life, no time. All was null, and the universe was not yet created. Nor even conceived, for there was no form from in which to conceive or be conceived. In its emptiness, the darkness fell upon itself and became aware that it was nothing, alone and dark, unborn, unmanifest, silent. Can you imagine this silence? The silence of nothing. Can you quiet yourself enough to hear it? Can you listen to the silence within you? Breathe deeply, but slowly, so the breath is silent in your lungs. Feel your throat expand with the air coming in. Listen for the nothing. Listen for the quiet. Listen deep within yourself for the place of stillness. Slowly breathe into this void, a deep and peaceful breath. It is infinite quiet. Darkness fell upon itself, and in its emptiness knew itself to be alone, and alone it desired another. In this desire, a ripple moved across the void, to fold and fold again upon itself, until it was no longer empty and the void was full with birth. In the beginning, the great, unmanifest, became a vibration and its own recognition of being. And that vibration was a sound from all other sounds were born. It came from Brahma in his first emanation. It came from Savarti in her eternal answers. In their union, the sound arose and spread through all the void and filled it. And the sound became one, and the sound became many, and the sound became the wheel that turned and turned the worlds unto the dance of life, forever singing, always moving. If you listen, you can hear it now. It is in your breath, it is in your heart, it is in the wind, the waters, the trees, and the sky. It is in your own mind, in the rhythm of each and every thought. From one sound does it all emerge, and to one sound shall it return, and the sound is Aum. 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 Chant it now inside of you quietly. Let it build within your breath. Let the sacred sound escape you, moving on the wings of air, rhythm building, deep vibration rising up from deep within. Chant the sound of all creation, sound that makes the chakras spin. Louder now the voice arises, joins with other sounds and chants. Deeper now, the rhythms weaving all into a sacred dance. Rhythms pounded, voices growing, echoing the dance of life. Sounds to words, words to music, riding on the wheels of life, guiding us along our journey, moving spirit deep within. Chant the voice that is within you. This is where we must begin. Up from silence, breath and body, calling now into the void. Hear its answer in the darkness. Fear and pain have been destroyed. Brahma is the first vibration. Savarti is the flow. Sound unites us in our vision, harmonizing all we know. Soon the silence comes again with echoes of primordial sound, purifying all vibration. Echo of truth is profound. Okay, we're going to read today from the chapter, and this chapter starts with media. Television, radio, newspapers, and other public forms of communication can be seen as cultural expression of the fifth chakra, acting as a connecting nervous system for us all. If communication is the passage of knowledge and understanding, the mass content of our collective consciousness is, for better or worse, heavily influenced by the media and those who control it. Whether we are forced to hear about a politician's private sex life, made to look at countless murders on television, or hear honest data about the environment, the media directs the public attention to archetypical themes that they deem to be of concern to public consciousness. Media directs our attention, and where that attention goes, the rest of the energy generally follows. If media feels violence is more appropriate for our children to watch than lovemaking, they are setting cultural values for us all. Media is also the most potent means we have of cultural transformation. Media can be a potent feedback system, allowing us to see ourselves as we are, in our beauty and our ignorance. It was the pictures on the news of the Vietnam War that allowed people to get it touch with its atrocities while it was still going on, and create the anti-war protests. Media lets us know the state of the planet's ecology, the condition of people in other places, and helps wire up the global brain. Media can also show us ways of being different. A movie can make a hypothetical reality seem so real that our imagination is filled with new possibilities. Media can express Media can express creativity. Communicating from the depths of the collective unconscious. Media can show us the fronts of cultural transformation by bringing the hidden innovators to light and letting their voices be heard. It is so important to demand integrity of those who control the media. It is the cultural nervous system most influenced to the ways we live our collective reality. Then it is imperative that we keep our media from being polluted from mindless garbage, sensational gossip, propaganda, and lies. Otherwise, we risk being collectively manipulated by those who, in actuality, have more power than most of our elected representatives. If the fifth chakra, name Visuddha means purification, then our collective fifth chakras must be purified with the resonance of truth that can enlighten us all. Oh, that's the media. I didn't read telepathy. I missed a couple chapters. Okay, we're going to read telepathy. The key to mastery is always silence at all levels, because in the silence we discern the vibrations, and to discern them is to be able to capture them. Telepathy is the art of communicating across time and space without using any of the normal five senses. There are relatively few people adept at this form of communication, yet it is something we all respond to on a subliminal level. With a well-developed fifth chakra, this type of communication becomes accessible. As we learn to refine our chakras, calm our minds, and quiet our thoughts, the fabric of our consciousness becomes smoother and smoother. Our vibrations become steadier and our perceptions more direct. In this state, it is far easier to become aware of the subtler ripples of vibration in our energy field. The quieter levels of telepathic communication become apparent when the grosser vibrations of our lives are no longer creating interference. Let us make an analogy of telepathic communication by amplifying our phenomenon. If you're at a noisy party where everyone is talking at once, music is playing loudly and people are dancing, you'll have to raise your voice considerably to have any kind of conversation. If, for some strange reason, your partner is only whispering, you won't hear her at all. In order to hear her whispering, you'd have to be in a silent room where there were few or no interference patterns to your communication. Telepathy can be defined as the art of hearing the whispers of another's mind. In order to do this, we must be quiet within our own minds. Most of us, by nature, have a party going on inside our own heads. We're always conversing with ourselves or running tapes through our heads. When added to the usual din around us, this dulls the receptivity of the fifth chakra. We're accustomed to using technological devices to send our messages beyond the limits of our voices. We're not accustomed to listening for the subtle stirs in the ether that can bring us communication across time and space. And why should we be? Isn't gross physical communication more accurate, more specific, and less subject to loss or error? If you send a telepathic message, how can you be sure it's received or received accurately? Consciousness is not a real verbal process. In order to communicate, we must translate our consciousness into a symbolic structure. In order to receive the communication, we must translate symbols back into consciousness. While this may seem instantaneous, we are downgrading consciousness from its pure form. As any linguistic knows, the essence of communication is often distorted in translation. Seen in this light, telepathic communication can be more precise and immediate than verbal communication, which can often contain lies and omissions. While few people are really adept at this form of communication, there are even fewer people who have never experienced it at all. two people saying the same thing at the same time. Finding a busy signal because your friend is simultaneously calling you. Or getting the psychic hit that a family member is in danger are a few examples of the common ways telepathy can occur. If we accept the ether as a connective field of gross and subtle vibrations, then communication occurs through a perceptible alteration in that field. Telepathic communication is merely a subtler alteration, perceptible only when the grosser vibrations are quieted. Telepathy may result when two or more minds are rhythm entrained, such that a variation in the pattern of one rhythm results in a similar variation in the other. Entrained rhythms increase the amplitude of the wave. A wave of higher amplitude has more potency, more chance of being heard. Whatever the explanation, examples of telepathic communication indicate a kind of mental connectivity floating through the ether that permits an exchange of information on a non-physical plane. As thoughts become more and more dense, they begin to manifest. They are recognized by one mind, then two, and become denser and denser until they are all real. The old adage that thoughts are things become believable. Whether we are initiators or receivers, there is little doubt that there exists some medium through which we can tap into a realm where the vibration of the minds converge. Through the refinement of our chakras and attention to the vibrational world that surrounds and creates us, we can gain access to this unifying level of consciousness. As we approach the upper chakras, we approach a universality of mind, transcending the physical limitations of time and space that keep us separate. We need not create it. We need only to quiet our minds and listen. It is already there, and we are already playing a part in it. We can choose to make that part conscious. Creativity. Communication is a creative process. The more adept we are at this art, the more creative the process becomes. A young child, when first learning to speak, merely mimics his parents' words. Soon, however, the child understands that certain words bring particular results, and he begins to experiment. As his vocabulary grows, the child has more and more elements with which he can become creative. He begins to use words, sounds, and gestures to create his reality, as he will for the rest of his life. While many people have associated creativity with the second chakra, since that's where we create babies, I believe creativity is ultimately a form of expression related to chakra 5. Creating life in the womb is not a conscious process. We do not need to decide to make fingers or toes, blue eyes or brown. While the emotional states of the second chakra may fuel creative impulses, it takes will, chakra 3, and abstract consciousness, upper chakras in general, to create. The arts have always existed on the turning edge of culture, be they visual, auditory, kinesthetic, dramatic, or even literary. The arts, precisely be their non-regimented, non-conformist character, are able to reach into vast, uncharted realm of the future and illustrate ideas and concepts in a way that affects consciousness on an immediate and whole brain level. In the words of Marshall McLuhan, master analyst of media, I'm curious to know what would happen if art were suddenly seen for what it is, namely, exact information of how to rearrange one's psyche in order to anticipate the next blow from our own extended faculties. The artist is always engaged in writing a detailed history of the future because he is the only person aware of the nature of the present. Art forms are generally more abstract than any other forms of communication, leaving room for the imagination. They invite participation of the most innovative components of our consciousness. Saying less, perhaps we can hear more. As we approach the more abstract planes of consciousness, it is only fitting that we turn to our more abstract means of communication in order to embrace these planes. The process of creation is a process of inner discovery. In creating a work of art, we open ourselves to the very mysteries of the universe. We become channels for spiritual information, learning a language more universal than human tongues. The process of creativity is a delicate one. Regimented lives do not lend themselves to it and are instead threatened by it. Creativity releases our inner power as much as language releases the unknown from limbo, making it so the whole brain can know it. Presently, there is a new birth of therapies utilizing the creative process. Using visual arts, psychodrama, movement, dance, and the calming effect of music, one can access the deeper and generally healthier regions of the mind and body while releasing the inner frustrations that fragment our wholeness. Survival and health in the 21st century will require innovation and flexibility. Creativity is the key to unlocking these qualities. We must honor it in ourselves and in each other. We must honor the means which make it possible and protect ourselves from those phenomena which threaten to shut down the basic life force. Our very future depends on it. So we have chakra 5 exercises, which I will do tomorrow. And then that will complete our 5th chakra chapter. Everyone have a blessed day.